Hi, welcome to Module 4 of the Beginner's Guide to Webinars, in which we're going to look at the different types of webinars. First is scheduling. Some webinars are just one-time events, probably the majority are. On the other hand, there are also regularly scheduled webinars. Some marketers might have a webinar every week on a particular night. Maybe Tuesday is their webinar night. Another example would be networks like the Talk Marketing Now network. In a way, this is sort of like a network of, reminds me of call-in radio shows, but they're really webinars. And on this site, they have up to 10 webinars a day, and they have webinars every single day. Definitely worth checking out. With webinars, there are interactive webinars, which are the most common, and non-interactive webinars. In a non-interactive webinar, the host is just presenting the information. They're not really interacting with the audience. An interactive webinar, on the other hand, they're going to encourage you to type questions into the chat box, encourage you to type in feedback. Often they'll pose questions and say, do you agree with this? And you can type in your answer. And also, as we've talked about, that on occasion in an interactive webinar, the host can call on people and unmute their microphone, and you can actually speak and everybody in the webinar will be able to hear you. One specific subset of interactive webinars is Q&A webinars, questions and answers. These are often set up in relation to a specific product. Maybe a week or two after the product launch, the author will hold a Q&A webinar to address any questions that people might have and to highlight some features of the product. Some webinars are content only, and if that's the case, you'll usually be made aware of this fact. And in these types of webinars, they're not pitching any products. So why do people do these? Well, there's a variety of reasons. One is for creating a product. Holding a webinar is a great way to create a product in a small amount of time because you're doing it live and you're constrained to the time frame of the webinar, so the product gets created. Another reason that people do content-only webinars is to use as a bonus for buying a product. Sometimes webinars are used as lead magnets for opt-ins. They're the thing that the marketer is giving away to entice you to opt in for their email list. Often webinars are part of a paid product or membership. Some membership sites have regularly scheduled webinars, or they have one-time webinars, but they do them very frequently. Sometimes marketers might hold or participate in webinars for branding purposes, to make their name known. And finally, can't forget community building and fun. And again, the Talk Marketing Now network that we discussed earlier is an excellent example of this. There's a lot of people socializing there, building the community and having fun. And that's certainly at least part of the reason that people are participating in the webinars there. And then that brings us to pitch webinars. These are webinars that are designed to sell a product, but don't let that scare you off. Pitch webinars are usually at least half to two-thirds content. So how does this work? Well, often they'll show you the what and why, and then the product will show you how. So that's good information to have, whether you buy the product or not. Sometimes they will show you ways to do things manually. For example, building backlinks, how to find good places to, for example, leave blog comments. And then the product that they're selling might be an automated solution. An excellent example, I recently attended a webinar with Brad Goss, and the webinar was about creating traffic using images. He gave an excellent explanation of how he uses Flickr to generate traffic for his website, showed his accounts, showed generating nearly 2 million hits, in the past, I believe, year using Flickr, and really gave instructions on exactly how to accomplish this and what your expectations can be. And then the product that he was selling was rights to thousands of photos that you could use to upload to Flickr to drive traffic. So even if you didn't buy the product, the content of the webinar was very valuable. And people do this for a reason, because if you are presenting outstanding content for free, then people will assume that the product that you're selling must be really amazing. If you're giving away stuff this good for free, how good is the stuff that you're charging for? And that's not always true. It doesn't always pan out, but often it does. And often in pitch webinars, there is a special offer, and many times that offer will only be good during the webinar. And sometimes you might be told that it's only good during the webinar, but it might be extended for a longer period of time. But I usually would not count on that. And that brings us to the end of Module 4. Next up is Module 5, What Makes a Good Webinar?